your space, then pull me close.
Good morning, everyone. So lately, my days are starting off pretty much the same way. One of the first things I do is open my app to my daily command center, and I only try to prioritize the three most important things that are going to move the needle for me: creating content, preparing for a PhD program, managing my home, taking care of my son, trying to homeschool. It can be a lot. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but ever since I have implemented this new system, I have never been more consistent. And like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, it took me 8 years to graduate from undergrad. And I was somebody who was a chronic starter and stopper. Let me know in the comments below if you know what I mean by that. I had a really hard time finishing things. I was a good starter and I can implement things very well. But when it came to following through and finishing, I just sometimes would quit. And so implementing a system where I'm not overwhelmed by so many different tasks and suffering from decision fatigue, and I only have to focus on 3 small micro tasks each day, and then it allows me to see my progress, it has really helped me to just be consistent. So I want to know in the comments below, what are some of the things that you know that has been holding you back from getting to your next level? Is it procrastination? Is it that you always start new projects, but you can't seem to be consistent and finish them? I would love to know in the comments below. All right, good morning, everyone. It is 8 something, I don't know. But I got an update with, we're still in the process of trying to find funding and to make sure that we're pretty confident that I will have funding from years 2 to year 5, because there's some NIH grants and some other grants that I'm eligible for, because I would have identified a project at that time and I would have been actively working on a project, so it would be a lot easier for me to write a proposal. And I did ask, I am eligible to apply for a grant that would start next April, and I asked if it would be a good idea for me to apply. And one of the PIs told me that I might not be as competitive right now until year 2 or 3. So, I mean, I could, but I won't be very competitive because I'm not actively doing a project. And a lot of the other grants that I looked into that I would be a better fit for, those don't open until, well, the cycle has already closed for fall 2026. Those don't open until, I think it was about August. So I have a list of those that I'm looking at, and I'm gonna just make sure I'm staying up to date on and start looking at the requirements, just so that I'm not scrambling at the last minute to try to get that in, because those are really good grants and they'll cover, they'll pay for my stipend, they'll cover my tuition, and it's a longer term grant, so I don't have to worry about trying to find funding every year once I secure one of those. Also, one of the PIs suggested that I check handshake.com for TA ships outside of research. Personally, I have no interest in going into academia with a PhD. I mean, I know that's down the road, but I'm not going into getting a PhD for the purpose of going into academia. I really enjoy doing research. And so I might consider doing independent research, consulting, going into industry, something like that. But I don't want to do any TA ships. I don't want to be a TA, because yes, there are benefits to being a TA. I'll get my tuition paid for and a small stipend, but essentially that's like me having a job. So if I'm gonna spend an additional 20 hours a week trading my time for money, I would much rather do that doing something I actually enjoy. I'd much rather do that by creating content. And to me personally, it's just not worth me spending an additional 20 hours plus a week away from my home and away from the lab. I'd rather spend that time in the lab. for at home with my family.
That change all the time, changing all the time. Why are you always halfway in? Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want the yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin. So why you always halfway in? Halfway in. Why you always halfway in? Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want the yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin. So why you always halfway in? Halfway in. You say you need your space, then pull me close. I read your silence, louder than most. One day you're warm, the next day you're cold. Got me second guessing what I already know. I give you love, but you ration yours. But you ration yours. You open up just to close the door. Just to close the door. I stay up late, trying to read your mind. I can't read your mind, but your love got rules that change all the time.
I was able to record a little bit of content while my son was sleeping. It went well. I would say that if I could keep this system up, I could see this being something that is quite sustainable. But honestly, if it wasn't for my AI tracker, if it wasn't for Claude and my Notion system, my daily command center, then I probably would have stopped with the content creation by now. I'm looking forward to posting that upcoming content.
Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the
Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to just update you on what I'm doing right now. So ever since I created this, um, I call it my daily command center. I've used Claude and Notion to create this. And I've also connected it with my Google Calendar so that I have everything on my calendar just like this. It has really helped me to do less throughout the day, be less overwhelmed, and only focus on what is really going to move the needle forward, because I was just doing everything but not getting anything done. If you know what I mean. Right now, I've always wanted to be just more consistent with teaching my son anything. He's so curious. He's almost 2 years old. And I remember being a young girl and just being so curious about the world. Um, and I've been wanting to be more consistent with just teaching him something, anything. And I've just been able to be consistent with I wouldn't really call it homeschool. We don't really have a formal structure that we do. I don't have him sitting down at a desk or anything like that. But what he is learning right now are the planets, because I am interested in I was reading the Bible last night, and this is a true story. I was reading the Bible last night, or trying to at least, and I had an honest conversation with God. I said, God, I'm really struggling to, find this text interesting. And one thing about me, I am very honest with God in my prayer with Him, and just honest in my relationship with God. And I mean, He knows my heart anyway. So I just feel like I'm finding a hard time wanting to read the text, but I know I need to read the Word of God. So I said, Lord, please help me to have more of an interest in this. And then I got this immediate download, and I had this idea of just taking the next, 5 years as I'm doing my PhD to really study the Bible, but from a different lens. Studying it because I personally don't learn passively. I'm somebody who learns, I'm an active learner. And that's why taking notes never worked for me. In fact, when I did take notes in school, I was getting like C's and D's. I would get a B here and there, but it wasn't until I realized that I needed to learn differently and I absorbed information differently. And then when I just began thinking critically in my study time, I was finding myself doing a lot less, but it was much more effective because when I took my exams, I had already practiced, active recall, and I practiced taking these tests before. So by the time I took the exams, I I didn't have all of that anxiety and all that pressure. And yeah, just the taking notes in class thing never really did it for me. It took me a long time to realize that that is just not a great way for me to learn. Anyway, so I realized that I could learn how to read the Bible and learn how to study the Bible in a similar way that I approach research and the way that I learn research. So and just seeing it through this lens. And I'm excited now. I really am excited. So I started taking my notes yesterday. I made a new database in Notion to help me with this. And I started in Genesis 1. But I was reading very slowly, very carefully. And my husband and I got stuck on a couple parts because I was looking at creation through a scientific lens. Because initially it says that the earth was formless. And I said, okay, so, but it mentions that the water was there. So I said, well, maybe the, water molecules are still a water molecule, H2O, but it made me just think of like vapor or steam or a cloud. So I said, well, maybe the water was just like a thick cloud, or just different forms. The water had different forms. But then later on in the text, it said that it flowed together in one place. So that made me just think, well, there had to be some sort of light or some sort of heat source that would affect the temperature of the water because, as we know, when the temperature of water changes, the molecules will either stick together or separate, which is why we can freeze water and it becomes solid. And when we heat it up, it becomes like steam. So I was just looking at the Bible through that lens. And I've just been it's just been making this process of me studying more interesting. Anyway, I went down this whole rabbit hole and I started just to think about space and the solar system. So I say all that to say that right now I'm using that as an opportunity to teach my son about the planets. And I found this cute little toddler game. And here's what it looks like.
The nights get slow, but then disappear when the highs get low. I ain't your maybe. Tell me what it is, 'cause I'm way too grown to be messing with a love like this. I give you love, but you ration yours. You open up just to close the door. You stay closing doors. I stay up late trying to read your mind. I can't read your mind, but your love got rules that change all the time. Changing all the time. Why are you always halfway in? Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want the yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin. So why you always halfway in? Why you always halfway?
One of the main things that I'm doing right now as I'm preparing to start my PhD program this fall is just getting my house in order and getting on a routine. We have kind of slacked a bit, so I've just been trying to get on a routine with the content creation, with my son's schedule. And by the way, these drinks, 10 out of 10. I am not really into all of those probiotic sodas because they taste gross, but the Bloom drinks are pretty darn good. And one thing about me, I love to treat myself with froyo. I love froyo. I love going to these froyo shops. I think they're so cute. I love adding all the toppings. Unfortunately, This was probably one of the worst froyos I've ever tasted. It tastes like a lab experiment. It was so bad. And do you know when you just want to like something so bad, so you just keep trying it to try to trick your brain to actually like it? That's what was going on here. I couldn't even enjoy it. But it was just so darn cute. So I just had to show you.
Gonna be drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want the yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin. So why you always halfway in? Halfway in. You hit me up when the nights get slow, but then disappear when the highs get low. I ain't your maybe. Tell me what it is, 'cause I'm way too grown to be messing with a love like this. I give you love, but you ration yours. But you ration yours.
I am here trying to figure out how to hold this phone up in the car. I'm currently in Detroit, Michigan, because we're here to pick up some plants. We're here to pick up a couple plants. We had given away some plants last year this time, and the person that we gave them away to is already moving. So they asked us if we wanted them, and they've taken really good care of them. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how much they've grown. I believe he said 2 of them are birds of paradise. I can't remember. Some aloe vera, and I think I might use the aloe vera plants to make some sort of deep conditioner for my hair, because my hair is chronically dry. It's crazy because it just feels a little bit weird not living in Detroit anymore. You are watching me in real time learn how to become a content creator. Is that okay? All right. But yes, so my husband and the guy that we gave the plants to just came down with the first couple. It was one Birds of Paradise. He has taken such good care of these plants. It is so tall. I'll show you them maybe once I get home. Are there any plant biologists or plant scientists that are watching this channel? If you are, comment down below and let me know more about your work, your research, or what you do if you do field work. I would love to know. I took a plant biology class at Hampton University, and I was just fascinated just learning about how plants, one of the most interesting facts I've learned was that some trees, most if not all, I'm not sure, but they can sense when it's about to rain, and so their leaves will flip the other way to prepare to catch the rain. Actually, I don't even know if that's true, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to look this up, but I think that's what I remember. I wouldn't have just made that up. Well, I might have. You know, sometimes I do that just to make my life a little bit more interesting than it is. But I think that's true. But to me, that's just why I believe in God personally. I'm not sure what your beliefs are, but I believe that there is a creator, because there has to be some form of intelligence behind the way that the world works. And I'm excited to show you all my plants. That birds of paradise. Hopefully we can be good stewards over this plant, and it'll grow. So yeah, for the rest of the day, what is it? It's 1:27 right now. 1:27 p.m. It's Friday. The weather is really nice out. I'm going to convince him to stop at Belle Isle.
Just to close the door. You stay closing doors. I stay up late, trying to read your mind. I can't read your mind, but your love for rules that change who